Imagine a silicon chip, a marvel of human engineering. Now picture that chip not in a factory on Earth, but floating in the silence of space. The immediate outcome of this journey is striking. By moving certain steps of chip fabrication into microgravity, we could create materials of unprecedented purity. The intricate crystal structure inside the chip could become more uniform, more perfect. This is not science fiction. This is physics. A more perfect crystal allows electricity to flow with less resistance. It means faster performance. It also means fewer defects, which could dramatically increase the number of working chips we get from a single wafer. What we are talking about is a fundamental shift in perspective. On Earth, we fight gravity at every turn in the delicate process of chip making. We build billion-dollar clean rooms to combat the dust that gravity pulls from the air. We engineer complex heating and cooling systems to manage the currents of air that gravity creates. But what if, instead of fighting gravity, we simply left it behind? The potential gain is a leap in quality. Chips could be cleaner. They could be more efficient. They could unlock new levels of computational power simply by being made in an environment free from the constant, subtle pull of our home planet. This concept opens a new chapter in our technological story. It suggests that the next great manufacturing revolution might not happen on a factory floor, but hundreds of miles above our heads. The promise is a near-perfect semiconductor, a material so flawless that it pushes the boundaries of what our electronics can do. We are looking at a potential yield advantage that is frankly shocking. It's a game changer, born from understanding the subtle forces that shape matter at the smallest scales. The journey to get there will be long and expensive, but the destination could redefine our digital world entirely. Of course, this is not a simple proposition. The challenges are as vast as space itself, but the core idea is rooted in simple, elegant physics. Gravity, the force that holds our feet to the ground, also introduces tiny imperfections into the things we build. By escaping its influence, even for a few critical manufacturing steps, we could eliminate those imperfections at their source. The result is a product that is fundamentally better. It is a testament to the idea that sometimes, to solve a problem on Earth, you have to look to the cosmos for the answer. We are at the very beginning of this exploration. Now let us leave Earth behind. In the microgravity environment of orbit, the familiar rules of physics begin to bend. The first and most obvious change involves sedimentation. On Earth, tiny particles are constantly pulled downward by gravity. In space, they are not. A stray dust particle doesn't fall onto a wafer, it simply floats. It drifts slowly and randomly. This dramatically reduces the chances of a damaging collision. The particles are still there, so extreme cleanliness is still required. But their behavior is more predictable and less threatening. They are no longer being actively driven onto the delicate surface you are trying to protect. The second key mechanism is the change in crystal growth. On Earth, the formation of a crystal is heavily influenced by convection. Imagine a pot of boiling water. The hot water rises, cools, and sinks, creating a rolling motion. A similar thing happens at the microscopic level when depositing materials onto a chip. Gravity drives these tiny currents of heat and matter. In microgravity, this natural convection is almost entirely absent. Without it, the primary way atoms move is through diffusion. They spread out slowly and evenly, like a drop of ink in a glass of still water. This calmer, more orderly process can allow atoms to settle into a more perfect, uniform crystal lattice with fewer defects and impurities. A third difference is how heat itself behaves. On Earth, convection is a major way that objects cool down. In the vacuum of space, or even within a sealed module in orbit, convection is not a significant factor. Heat must move through conduction, direct contact, or through radiation, where it is emitted as infrared light. This changes the thermal profile of a cooling wafer. The cooling can be slower, and more importantly, more uniform across the entire surface. A more even cooling process helps prevent stress and strain from building up within the crystal layers, leading to a stronger, more stable structure. Reduced sedimentation, diffusion-dominated growth, altered heat transfer are not theoretical. They are direct consequences of removing gravity from the equation. Each one addresses a specific problem that chip manufacturers spend billions of dollars trying to mitigate on Earth. In space, the solutions are not based on more complex machinery, but on a simpler physical environment. It is a profound shift. We are not adding a new process, we are removing a fundamental force. This allows the materials to behave in a way that is closer to their ideal state, giving us a chance to build from a more perfect foundation. The vision of perfect chips from space is compelling. However, the path to orbit is paved with immense challenges. The first and most significant barrier is cost. Launching anything into space is extraordinarily expensive. Every kilogram sent to low Earth orbit costs thousands of dollars. A manufacturing facility, even a small automated one, would weigh many tons. The transport cost would be astronomical before a single chip is produced. This creates an incredibly high financial threshold. The gains in chip performance or yield must justify the launch and ongoing maintenance and resupply costs. Beyond the initial launch, there are operational constraints. Space is a hostile environment. An orbital factory needs robust radiation shielding. Radiation can damage sensitive electronics. It would require a reliable power source, large solar arrays. It would also need advanced robotics and remote control systems. Sending human technicians for repairs is prohibitively expensive and complex. Contamination control becomes even more critical in microgravity. A single leak or outgassing event could release particles into the module. Without gravity, those particles would float indefinitely, threatening production. Then there is the element of time. Development cycles for space tech are measured in years, sometimes decades. Designing, building, and testing zero-gravity manufacturing equipment is monumental. Despite the daunting costs, powerful incentives are driving the exploration of in-space manufacturing. The primary motivation is the pursuit of ultimate performance. For certain applications, supercomputing, artificial intelligence, advanced scientific research, even a small percentage increase in chip speed or efficiency can unlock tremendous capabilities. If microgravity allows the creation of a chip that is 10% faster than anything possible on Earth, there will be customers willing to pay a very high premium for it. This creates a niche market for ultra-high performance components that could justify the initial investment. The incentive is not to replace all chip manufacturing, but to dominate the highest end of the market. Another major driver is yield. As transistors shrink to the size of just a few atoms, the impact of a single defect becomes much larger. At these advanced nodes, yields on Earth can be frustratingly low, making the most powerful chips incredibly expensive. If moving a single, critical layering step to microgravity could raise the yield of these cutting-edge chips from 50% to 80%, the economic calculation changes dramatically. The extra cost of the launch could be more than offset by the value of the additional high-functioning chips. This creates a powerful feedback loop. Furthermore, microgravity opens the door to entirely new materials. Some complex alloys and crystalline structures are simply impossible to form under the influence of gravity. Convection currents can cause elements with different densities to separate, or can disrupt the delicate process of lattice formation. In the stillness of space, we could potentially grow novel semiconductor materials with exotic properties. The journey to an orbital fab does not begin with a massive factory. It begins with small, cautious, and deliberate experiments. The first real steps are already being taken. Research teams are designing compact experimental modules, no larger than a microwave oven, to be sent to the International Space Station. Inside these modules, small sample wafers or test cells are subjected to specific manufacturing processes: thin film deposition, crystal growth. These experiments are designed to isolate variables and provide clean data. The goal is to prove, on a small scale, which specific processes benefit most from the microgravity environment. The initial results from these test runs will be crucial. They will act as a go or no-go signal for further investment. Scientists will meticulously analyze the returned samples using powerful electron microscopes and other instruments. They will be looking for concrete evidence: a lower density of crystal defects, a more uniform layer thickness, a reduction in particulate contamination, compared to an identical control experiment performed on Earth. Some processes might show no significant improvement, proving to be insensitive to gravity's pull. Others, however, might show a clear and dramatic gain in quality. If these early results are positive, the next logical step would be the development of a small, dedicated prototype facility in orbit. This would not be a full-scale factory, but a fablet, a small, automated module, designed to perform one specific, high-value step, or to perform two such steps in sequence. For example, a raw wafer might be launched from Earth, have a single critical layer deposited in the orbital module, and then be returned to Earth for the remaining processing steps. This hybrid model minimizes the mass that needs to be launched and leverages the unique advantages of space only where it provides the greatest return on investment. This initial phase is all about gathering data and managing risk. It is a period of intense learning. We will discover which robotic systems are reliable enough for unattended operation in space. We will learn how to maintain a pristine manufacturing environment in a sealed, floating laboratory. We will build the economic models that tell us exactly how much a defect costs and how much a launch is worth. These first consequences are not revolutionary products, but knowledge. They are the quiet, essential groundwork being laid for a future where the sky is no longer the limit for what we can build. Ultimately, a successful microgravity manufacturing niche would create a stable, but permanently altered industrial ecosystem. But a fundamental question remains: what are the true, hard limits of this approach, and which of our models will prove correct? What scenario should we explore next? Share your ideas below. You've been watching IFverse, where imagination meets possibility. See you in our next reality.